Well, to all of this, the Treasury Board President, Anita Anand, now joins us in studio. Minister, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
You know, when you talk about this push to improve cybersecurity, of course, it's not just the federal government. Many jurisdictions, many private companies are taking this on. But of course, the federal government has access to so much personal information of Canadians. I'm wondering, as we begin the discussion about cybersecurity, as your office also looks at artificial intelligence, has your office detected an increase in cybersecurity threats?
Yes, we have. Certainly after the illegal and unjustifiable further invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the number of cyber attacks from state and non-state actors has increased, making it even more important for us to have a unified strategy against cyber attacks and cyber threats for the Government of Canada. Of course, we have the Communications Security Establishment and Shared Services Canada who are doing excellent work in this area, but for the Government of Canada to have a unified strategy so that individual ministries are not pursuing their own types of defenses is extremely important at this time, giving everyone more comfort that their personal information is protected.
Well, you know, it's interesting because as you have this discussion, you know, almost parallel, there's also this debate right now about how often the public service needs to be reporting to work physically. And when we talk about cybersecurity, does the work from home model present a backdoor, if you will, for any negative actor, any bad actor to access government information?
No, those issues are always dealt with by the managers in place at the time. That is not something that has been at the heart of the change in policy from 2 to 3 days to 3 days in the office. Certainly we are taking a holistic approach to protecting government systems across the board in light of further threats and the changing global strategic environment.
Mm-hmm. I also want to ask about the talent pool that you have right now to actually deal with this, because as you said, you're trying to create this strategy where, you know, individual ministries, individual departments, that they're not acting independently but in tandem. And we're talking about a multi-million, multi-year project for your government. Is there the talent pool in the civil service right now to actually develop the type of policies for what is essentially a fast-changing environment?
It's an excellent question. We do need to hire more experts in the cyber and digital area, generally speaking. We are fully cognizant of the necessity to do that. We are decreasing the application process times to hire experts in this field. We're also putting in place a reskilling process so that individuals who want to impact and improve their skills in this area can do so. And I will say that we will continue to face competition from the private sector in terms of experts in this area. And so from a Government of Canada perspective, it is a matter of calibrating and continuing to hire more and more experts in this field.
Well, you know, and I appreciate it's not an easy task before any entity that's trying to create this type of policy. But at the same time, you know, your government faces a political reality where it's been criticized for using outside contractors. Does that hinder what you're trying to do here, the political criticism up against the real need to take on cybersecurity?
So we continue to reduce our reliance, generally speaking, on outside contractors. For example, in the supplementary estimates last year and again in the main estimates, I have reduced the expenditures on external contractors. It was about $350 million as a reduction in the last supplementary estimates before the holidays. That's just an example. So that work continues. That is part of the Refocused Government Spending Initiative that I am leading across government. And again, we are reducing overall our reliance on external experts. There are areas where external experts do add necessary value, such as in terms of statutory obligations or areas where we do not have the expertise in the public service. But I have published a manager's guide to third-party contracting now in 2 iterations to say to managers across the public service, where we have the expertise in the public service, we should be relying on the public service.
Mm-hmm. As we said right off top, there's two challenges essentially you're trying to take on: cybersecurity, the other one, the artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about the pitfalls? Because I know that there's the argument out there that AI can vastly improve times for government, the delivery of government services.
Yes.
But talk to us about the pitfalls, though, that you're concerned about.
Yes. We are seeing the necessity of improving the efficiency of government services and the productivity question across the country, including in the government. And so while we rely on digitization increasingly to ensure that those objectives are met, we do have to be cognizant of the possibility that I heard about this morning at our roundtable of experts on artificial intelligence, that there may be biases built in to artificial intelligence systems. And so I'm taking a very close look at potential harms that may result from the use of artificial intelligence, and at the same time ensuring that we develop a strategy for introducing it more broadly into the public service.
Okay, introduce more broadly, but also a limitation on how public servants use AI?
There are limitations already in terms of generative AI. It has to be approved by the managers and directors in particular departments, and certain areas would not be part of the use of AI in the public service where information is confidential, for example. But we need to develop a strategy that sees the risks and the possibilities of AI, generally speaking, outside of generative AI. And that's the purpose of the roundtable that I held with experts from across the country. Canada is a leader in AI. We were the first country to come out with a digital strategy and AI strategy in 2017, backed by $2 billion. We put another $2.4 billion behind AI in the private sector in budget 2024. And so the work is being done to maintain Canada's leadership position in the area of AI while respecting the very real concerns relating to bias and other issues that might arise.
Mm-hmm. Quickly running out of time, but I do want to ask you something, and it's not necessarily directed to AI and cybersecurity, but it's almost a fallout of it, because here we are quite essentially at a very angry time in the country. We've seen pushback on the vaccine mandates. We saw pushback on environmental policy. We see protests and signs across many neighborhoods in the country. Again, the federal government deals with so much information, personal information, and as the government becomes increasingly digitized, is there any thought being put forward about building public trust and having, I don't know if it's a formal campaign, informal campaign, to assure Canadians that as this information gets into government hands and is digitized, that they can feel secure about that?
It is a very real concern, and we need to ensure that we are building the public trust in democratic institutions, especially at this time. And so this concern about how do we do that? How do you build public trust? Public trust is not a tangible thing. It is something that comes with the ability to show that, for example, your information will be protected. And I have been working with the procurement specialists in our government and advocating for greater systems control over individuals' information, their private information. And at all times, we need to respect the obligations in privacy laws. That is first and foremost, so that individuals feel secure in their interactions with the federal government, and so that the innovations that we introduce take into account that priority first and foremost.
Minister, I always appreciate the time. Treasury Board Secretary, or President rather, Anita Anand, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael.